It's Monday, April 28th, and you're listening to the Geek at Geek News Central. This is show number 944, sponsored in part by GoDaddy.com. Get 32% off at GoDaddy or pick up a domain name for $2.95. All of my specials can be found at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Geek News Central is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. Hey, folks, got a great show lined up for you. I had got the crud, and I'm getting over it. Someone just absolutely got me sick. We'll talk about that. But hopefully I don't cough on you too much tonight. You know what comes next. Strap in. Here it comes.
All right, people, I need a go, no-go for the Geek News Central podcast. Digital archive recorders.
Or go fly.
Microphone.
Or go fly.
Video feed.
Go.
Web browser.
Go.
RSS data stream aggregator.
Go fly.
Interflux Toddism suppressor.
All right, I'm confused.
Host readiness check.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
The Geek News Central podcast is a proud member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to go. Cue Todd in
5,
Button, who's got the button?
4,
There is no cause for alarm.
3,
Everybody hold on to something.
2,
Just press the button.
1.
Aloha and welcome to Geek News Central. Of course, I'm Todd Cochran, your host. I want to welcome to the Geek News Central podcast. I tell you, it's great to be here. Got a lot to share with you, lots of things going on. And yes, as I said in my abbreviated intro tonight, I'm getting over the crud and mostly just head stuff. A little bit of fever Saturday and Sunday, but I think I'm back in the game to a certain extent. But for all of you that are longtime viewers and listeners of the show, thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of the family. And those of you that are watching, I've got red on in the background. I was actually looking for a red shirt tonight because my hair has absolutely been on fire. Things have been just crazy here, more than I can even explain. And I'll get into a little bit of that here as well tonight. But if you're brand new to the show, thanks for checking us out. And yes, this crazy guy does have some great content for you tonight, so we'll get to that here in a little bit. But I want you to take some time and make sure you get over to geeknewscentral.com, and let's see if I can bring the site up here and actually blow that up a little bit so that you guys can see it a little bit. But get over to geeknewscentral.com and check out all the great content. Of course, get subscribed to the podcast. Get subscribed to the newsletter while you're there as well. That way you can stay in touch and engaged with the show. And what I do on the newsletter is I send out basically everything I'm going to talk about tonight will be linked in the show notes. At least 90% of the important stuff. The other 10% stuff we just kind of get rid of. But all of that will be in the newsletter, and that'll be in your inbox immediately following the show. So lots going on. Lots. And, the thing is, when it rains, it pours. When you're busy, it's good. It's just like it's peaks and valleys. And I actually had a couple of weeks where things weren't too crazy here. But you guys know that we're in a major renovation. A lot of it you can't see yet. Some of it you might be able to start tell. I have some telltale signs. And when you come over to geeknewscentral.com, specifically today on the page load, the page are loading much faster. And what we've done is some magic behind the scenes and really optimize things. And I think you're going to see a lot more performance increases on the website for loading. This is in lieu of getting ready to expand and bringing, letting the new media show and the Gadget Professor and Robot Underpants all will have their separate branded sites, along with everything else I do, kind of brought underneath one roof. And the template is in work. But we've been doing a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of geek lifting. And it's been pretty exciting because I've really kind of begun to realize that this show, the Gadget Professor, Langley show, we're creating an incredible amount of data. And it's really amazing how, and for a long time, the majority of the media goes right up on raw voice Blueberry servers from a CDN standpoint. But some of our secondary stuff, we've kind of dropped it here and dropped some there and dropped a little here, there. And as I was pushing 160 gigs off a hard drive yesterday, that was just sitting in one folder that was a collection of just this and that, pushing it up to a cloud service in order to get that media up onto, a different location, and it really, it's just automated. I basically do the scripts and it runs. It's like 12 hours, even at, internet speeds, to transfer all that data, and you just let that process run. And, I've done that over and over and over the past basically 3 or 4 days. And, multiple terabytes are now, I guess not terabytes, multiple gigabytes. That isn't even the right word yet. Well, we're close to, multiple terabytes pushed up into the cloud from this show for 10 years worth of media is incredible. And I was running some reports, and, I pulled all 944 episodes of this show, or 943, and I looked at all the media that was linked to every episode. And, in the early days, we were doing MP3, WMA, OGG. Then for a while, we just did MP3. And then for a while, we did OGG again on video. And then MP4, M4Vs. I mean, just wow. And it was to kind of set me back in my seat a little bit, thinking, I didn't have a very good strategy in the early days. Of course, I wasn't thinking what would happen in 10 years, where all this media is going to, be at. And most of it is probably never accessed, but it's linked up in the system. And what do? Do you kill it, or do you move it and put it somewhere? So, I'm thinking, you start looking at that bill that it's going to cost you to put that stuff in the cloud. And it's made me sit back a little bit and think about where we're going to go in the future as far as what I create for media for this show. Because right now I'm creating on this show specifically an MP3, 3 versions of an MP4, a mobile, what I call a normal, and a high def. And I know how much the high def and the mobile get watched, not as much as the 640 by 360 version. So I have to sit here and kind of weigh which way do I go, and is it worth it, the ongoing cost? You think 100 shows a year, and then you just, you do the math, and it doesn't take too long, and you're doing 200 gigs a year of new data. And, while it might not seem a lot, it just, in plus of all the, you don't even want to know the situation with the CES stuff, because with CES stuff, many times we had for 3 years, we had a sponsor that was keeping our media over at one location, and then, and this is what kind of prompted some of the media moving, because that company come back and said, hey, we're not sponsoring that media anymore, but you're still, you're moving 4 or 5 terabytes of traffic a month. What are we going to do about that? And so, essentially, long story short, I'm convalescing all that stuff into a central location, and just moving data and then doing the stuff with the servers alone for the website have me just like frazzled. I thought I was under control, and then I was in one of my other servers this time. I was like, what is that folder? And I do a was it DM-H, or one of those Unix commands. And I'm like, holy crap, there's 100 gigs there, and it's just like, where does it end? And then I have to write rules and rewrite stuff in the database. My hair's been, it's been kind of nuts. And then making sure all the pieces stay connected the entire time. So that's part of it. And then, a lot of the thing we're going to be doing is, on Geek News Central, is all this work. It's going to be, it's going to be well worth it, because this site is going to scream when it's all over. And I'm looking forward to getting to the final solution. And really, for Geek News Central, from an optimization standpoint, we're probably, this is before the new template. Everything we can do before the new template, maybe we're 3 steps away from getting all the optimization we're going to get out of this box and where everything's put and the images and so forth. But I know I'm kind of geeking out here, but that's what's been kind of going on in between fighting heat waves of a fever that was hitting me and making me have to go lay down for half an hour while a process was running and so forth. But that's just, and I'm learning a lot more about Unix and command line and all kinds of weird stuff I've never done before, and it's proved to be pretty interesting in making some of this stuff connect together that wasn't necessarily designed initially to be connected together, and trying to keep some of the infrastructure the same. So it's been fun. So anyway, that's that. Okay, so as always, if you got comments on today's show, you can send them to me at Twitter at Geek News. And you can email me here directly, geeknews@gmail.com. You can follow us follow the show on Google Plus or on Facebook. Links will be up in the show notes for that. Feel free to drop me a line, let me know what's going on, and don't forget you can watch the show on the Roku, Boxy, Samsung Smart TV, Google TV, all on the Tech Podcast channel. And all of this would not be possible. This bill. This credit card bill that I keep authorizing my card for this media and moving here and doing that would not be possible without our friends at GoDaddy, and those of you that are also insiders. But I want to take just a second here and thank our good friends over at GoDaddy, and they have a deal. And we are coming down to the end of the month. So if you've been sitting on your haunches trying to decide what you're going to do, now is the time to make that move and save some money. You can get 32% off over at GoDaddy. And what I want to do is I want to just take you over to the GoDaddy promo code page at geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy and use that Go32 off one code. That's 32% off a new purchase. Now, the 25% off code also works with new top-level domains that are out of pre-registration. So don't forget to use that on those. Go 25 off 5. And those of you that are renewing, Go 20 off 2 is the only code I have right now that works on renewals. So make sure you get in there and do that. I've been doing a bunch of that stuff too. But 50% off of new hosting plans with a free domain. 50% off your first 12 months of Business Website Builder, again with a free domain. And actually my niece, who is getting ready to launch her website, she picked out a domain, basically went to GoDaddy, got a hosting account, got the domain for free, got the template, got the WordPress installed, and really got to the point now where we just have to start doing some tweaks and getting some graphics into the site. And she'll be able to be ready to rock and roll, doing her own media site here soon and become a podcaster, a new media creator. And she got about $120 worth of products and services for $60. And she's good to go, very happy, and I'll be looking forward to introducing her and her website here in the near future. But again, she hooked up and used my codes. And of course, I gave her a little instruction, her and her mom, and but they're good to go, and we're happy to have them on board and going to become a new media creator. But hey, we want you to think about start blogging or whatever you may be doing, maybe helping to promote your business by using the promo code FOUND5 on the new service GoDaddy has on getting found and being published for your business. So definitely use that code as well. All my codes, again, geeknewscentral.com/GoDaddy. Get over to GoDaddy.com and pick up all these great products and services. We want you to. They support us here, and that's the very important part, is to keep the lights on and keep me doing what I'm doing. So I want to thank GoDaddy again for being a longtime sponsor here at Geek News Central. Okay, so let's, what have I got in my stack here? Now, not to even, today was one of those days where my daughter had I can't go into much detail. Needless to say, she's had an interesting day. She's not home yet. She's okay, but we had a little bit of an emergency this afternoon or this morning, and not involving her, but was part of that part of it, and everything's cool. But a little bit of freak out part on me for a little while today, and her mother and I. But all's good, and she'll be home directly. No worse for wear, no accident or anything like that. It was something else. But I really can't go into the details. But needless to say, when the show's over, and if she's back, her and I will be having a chit chat. I'm sorry. I wish this is where I need one of those cough buttons. And I'll try to move the mic away. If you hear this pause, and just that's me throwing the mic away from you so you're not getting cough in the face. Okay, so this past Saturday we had the CEO of JCAPS on at jacapps.com on the New Media Show. So that was pretty good. Good discussion point. Matter of fact, Spitballs was on with us Saturday, and he's in the chat room right now. And I've been thinking about this whole app business, and I don't know. These guys were. I think when I asked him specifically how much is an app going to set me back to get started. We've had a couple of attempts here to do an iOS app, and it hasn't really made it to fruition. So they're talking about push notifications and all this extra stuff that needs to be in an app. I'm still not convinced this show needs an app, an iOS app. Now, what we ought to do, Spitballs, why don't you send me an email, and we'll link people to that Android app that you made, and we'll play with that thing. But I think it's time maybe to do something. I don't know, but I don't want to see. He talked about the cost of a small car, and my budget is nowhere near that kind of money. It really is, especially with all this stuff I'm doing right now with the rework of the website and getting it. Basically, it's going to be mobile ready. It's going to be a design that when you come to the site with a mobile phone, it'll squeeze down, and you'll be able to have a good experience. But anyway, you guys, let me know. What do you think? Think you'll use an app? If I have an app for the show, would you use it? Drop me an email here, geeknews@gmail.com. Let me know. But I'm still just not convinced. You guys are using different podcast apps and so forth, and the numbers haven't been hurt up this point for not having an app. But at the same time, maybe they could be better if I did. I don't know. Definitely let me know. And also, I think we're still missing an address. Hey, Sam, I don't think we have an address for the second winner of our giveaway. If you have that address, drop me a line with his address. I know we've got the address for the stick, but I don't think we have the address for the other winner yet. We're going to need to email him to make sure that we get his prize out, okay? So let me know one way or the other. I appreciate it. Okay, so I think that's it for the stack here. Let me look through. Not a lot. Hope I didn't weird you guys out on the last show. I was kind of, after I got done producing the last show, I was kind of like, should I cut that rant out? It is what it is. And no negative feedback, so I guess that's good. But let's go ahead and get into the stack here tonight of the stuff that I've got. And let's see here. If you're using Internet Explorer, and I want to thank one of our listeners. Matter of fact, let me get that email up. Let me not blow this again tonight. Got an email from Dale. He said, "Hey, Todd, I thought you might like to see this warning issued today. The U.S. government says don't use Internet Explorer. The Department of Homeland Security has issued an official advisory warning Windows customers that they should not use any modern version of Internet Explorer IE6 to IE11. Don't use, because basically this 0-day exploit will allow basically this you can get hacked just by hitting a website. So be very, very careful. Now here's the problem. If you're on XP and you have IE, you're screwed. This is something that probably will not get patched. So we'll see if Microsoft fixes IE6, IE7, and IE8 as well. This could be a big, because, XP will not run IE9, 10, and 11. So, people are going to be pretty foolish to run IE right now on XP. So download Chrome, download Firefox, use that version, one of those browsers, but do not use IE at this time. So just heads up on that, because this could be a very bad thing, and you could get exploited. So I want to thank Dale for that email, but this is all over the interwebs today. Gizmodo basically says that it's related to Flash. Once again, Adobe, something tied in the way Adobe Flash Player works, and IE is where the bug resides. Adobe did put out a patch or something today, but it does not fix IE. There was some expectation or rumor that it would fix IE, but it doesn't, and that was updated late this afternoon. So this is a big issue. So stay away from IE. To give you a chance to try something else out. Okay, Comcast, excuse me, Netflix today, it's announced, signed a traffic deal with Verizon. So the toll troll Verizon the toll troll, can basically, Netflix has confirmed it will pay Verizon for direct access to the carrier's network, allowed for an improved streaming video for customers. According to the brief statement, they've reached an interconnect arrangement with Verizon that will improve performance for our customers over the coming months. So we know the details are confidential, but Verizon had to write a check. So this is an interesting another development. The toll troll strikes. Verizon put out their hand, and basically Netflix had to write a check. See? They're double dipping, folks. Continues to go on and on and on. I just wonder if Netflix is going to use this in their argument like they are with Comcast. Matter of fact, I'm surprised that they actually did a deal with Verizon after they made the commentary they did against Netflix. So, or against Comcast, excuse me. So we'll see what happens here with this, but definitely this is very scary for many of us, because what happens when Verizon comes to my little company and says, hey, you're sending podcast data through us, you need to pay. That would be definitely worrisome, I guess. All right. So there's a thread over on Reddit. They said 2 years ago we got organized and beat SOPA. Now we need to do it again to preserve net neutrality. So they're coming up with a plan on what they're going to do, and I'll follow this and see if there's any additional thought process on what they're going to do. But they're definitely going to be working on sample letters and so forth to build out a case to basically go to our congressmen and representatives and talk with them. Now, I do know that I think a little later in the stack here, but I'll talk about it now. There is going to be a hearing on May 20th with the FCC chairman and the Commerce Committee. We'll definitely get the list of all the members that are going to be on that Commerce Committee, and we can basically preempt by going to that Commerce Committee members and submitting our thoughts and basically questions that we want them to ask the chair, and to put up our use cases where there's concerns. So I'll keep you advised on that. We'll try to get that list together well ahead of the hearing so that we can get something into the record over there on behalf of Geek News Central listeners. And I'll let you know as soon as I've got something for you, okay? News coming out of Skype today. Microsoft Skype has announced that they'll offer free group video calling. You know, you guys hear that in the background? My son knows I'm doing a show. He sent something to the printer. Oh, he could have waited. I guess you see if he comes in here and gets it out of the printer. If he does, I've got something planned for him. In the studio tonight, it's not quite ready, but I do have a camera hooked up, and it's basically a replacement to the PTZ, and it's over there in the corner. It's not at the right altitude that I need it to be at, so I've got to adjust it yet. But if he comes in the studio here, I will I'll hit him with it as he's coming through. If nothing else, we'll catch the side of his head as he walks through. But going back to this article, Microsoft has announced that they'll offer free group video calling, which might just be the catalyst where more and more group video calls are made. So you just have to pay for this service, and I think I did. So this is pretty cool. And basically, they're saying that the group video calling had been an offer to premium users of Windows Desktop and Mac, as well as on the Xbox One. But now there's a free for all users across the various platforms. To sweeten the deal, Skype intends to enable group video calling for all of their users across additional platforms at no additional cost. So this could be pretty good. So we'll see how much of a boost they get. And they're trying to compete with Hangouts is what they're trying to compete with. Because, Hangouts has been free out of the box. And quite frankly, making big headway. Big headway in the space. Also, Microsoft is working to create devices for under $300 for schools. And the devices questioned are lightweight enough to conduct research and take assessments, while at the same time robust enough to create rich media, develop code, and build complex applications. So this is something that they got cooking that they want to put on the street. Hey, I'm going to bring up an article. I want to show you guys something. Then I want to ask those of you that are I'm going to ask you guys about something. I wanted to do this a little further in the show. It's something personal I want to ask you guys, but let me talk about this particular article first. And let me grab the piece of paper. I want to get it. Hang on. So the BBC has got a article talking about Microsoft must release email data held on Dublin servers. And essentially, what this is a judge in the United States has ordered Microsoft to hand over a customer's email even though the data is held on a server in Ireland. Microsoft has previously taken steps to reassure customers that data held on servers abroad should not be subject to search warrants by U.S. authorities, but the judge said warrants for online data were different to other data, and but basically this judge said that while warrants being issued for traditional warrants were confined to the United States, they're not applicable, or they're not basically held within the confines of the United States under the Stored Communication Act. He said the warrant should be treated more like a subpoena for documents. Anyone issued with a subpoena by the U.S. must provide the information sought, no matter where it's held. Of course, Microsoft said a U.S. prosecutor cannot obtain a U.S. warrant to search someone's home located in another country, just as another country's prosecutor cannot obtain a court order in her home country to conduct a search in the United States. We think this rules should apply in the online world, but the government disagrees. Okay, so here's what's going to happen. So what happens when Vladimir Putin has the courts over there issue a warrant to have the President of the United States emails subpoenaed? Will the United States agree and allow that data to be sent back to Russia? Being that the U.S. government can basically say you can take data off a server you have in Dublin and pull that data and provide it as part of a court order. This can't be a two-way street. They'll never allow it. So yet here we have the U.S. government saying now specifically to Microsoft, we want this email off your server in Dublin. We want this information, this person's data, his credit card information, his billing address. We want all of his emails. And yet the data is sitting in a data center in Dublin. I don't know where the individual is. What this really does is this opens up for a business for people to set up servers outside the United States, foreign country, let's say someone in whatever country, set up servers and start providing email service completely out of the jurisdiction of the United States. Now, that wouldn't stop the United States from trying to capture the traffic, but it would make it pretty hard for the U.S. government to request that data because they could just flip the bird. Up to this point, people across the country, throughout the entire world, have trusted Gmail. They've trusted Yahoo. They've trusted AOL. They've trusted, who else? Yahoo, a handful of Microsoft. All these companies have these free email services. I bet you a lot of people that don't want the government knowing what they're doing are going to move their email offshore. What do you guys think about this ruling? Love to hear your feedback. geeknews@gmail.com. All right, I want to, how many of you guys are familiar? This is something that's big in Hawaii right now, and people are having great success with it. And any type of diet plan, I get a little weirded out about. Because really what it is, it amounts to making sure you don't shovel so much food in and getting a little more exercise, right? And even though I've held the same weight, it's time to lose some weight. So my wife is pushing me pretty heavily. And I think we're going to go for this because we've had a bunch of people do this that have had good success. But it's called Purium. You guys heard about this? Purium. It's not cheap. For a 2-week deal, it's like 200 some bucks. And it's part cleansing, part deep, basically detox. And you basically don't eat a lot of stuff except for, I'll just let you guys look it up, but it's, Purium is a weight loss program. And, they really have, it's been pretty successful here in Hawaii without a lot of, any type of diet you take. It's like you do the diet and then see how much weight you put on immediately coming off. The bounce back factor hasn't been too bad on this one. So if you guys heard about it, if you have, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. But I have heard nothing but rave. Haven't heard to a person yet that we asked about it, whether or not they were disappointed. Everyone so far said they were. But I'm still the big doubting Thomas. If I do it, I'll definitely tell you guys how it worked out for me, but I'll keep you advised. But if you haven't even heard of it, just let me know. All right, moving back to tech, getting off the health and basically health of said host. AT&T will try to make in-flight internet work a little bit better starting in 2015. So basically, they're going to set up a service that's sort of like GoGo. It's going to let airlines provide faster airborne Wi-Fi to passengers and potentially help aircraft transmit more real-time data back to the ground. So, so long as you're within the footprint of a service, I guess this is going to work. But between here in Hawaii to the mainland, there's usually not too much internet, unless it comes via satellite. But AT&T is going to give it a try. Netflix is exploring peer-to-peer delivery, and we talked about this before. But I think for Netflix, it makes a lot of sense. There's so many of us using Netflix at so many times. I wouldn't mind helping battle the ISPs by providing my neighbor a little bandwidth when it comes to delivering video content. So I'd be curious to see how they're going to work this out. But because we use so many different devices, having it built to go a little peer sharing might be a bit difficult. All right, switching gears here. Microsoft had a project to find E.T., the extraterrestrial video game by Atari, and they actually went and dug up a landfill and found an incredible number of these games. Why they want to go dig this up in the first place, I don't fully get it. but they did. And I guess it was a game that Atari made that didn't sell real well, and they literally dumped millions of the cassettes into the landfill to get rid of them. And but there's a 5-minute video that basically takes you through the dig. But yeah, they actually went to the dump to dig this up. I just find it pretty incredible. I really do. But they found a pile of them. A lot of other stuff too. So if you got an Atari 2600, maybe you can get E.T. the Extraterrestrial video game here soon. Yeah, what do you need that for, really? All right, Google has made an update on their self-driving cars, and basically they're hitting the city streets and handling the chaos well. On an official blog post, Google has basically said that they've had great improvement on driving on city streets, driving thousands of miles without a hitch. They've been primarily focused on the streets instead of the highway recently. Pedestrians, bicycles, traffic revisions, railroad tracks, and downright bad drivers all throw additional variables at the computer that's trying to keep a car and passenger safe. But Google said it's making big strides in managing these challenges. Its latest self-driving car software can recognize a dozen of common and less than common driving situations and immediately choose the best course of action. So they're saying that basically they feel their street driving cars are probably safer than those of us that are behind the wheel. So they show a pretty cool video on how the software kind of works and what it sees as obstructions and different things it can do, and handling basically when a vehicle is pulled over to the side and there's heavy traffic, and navigating that without hitting the car beside you. We all have had those situations where it was just a little bit of a tight fit and then you're worried about a passenger jumping out or something. So pretty cool update by the folks over at Google, and definitely we'll have the link up in the show notes for you to check that out. But yeah, nice update for sure. All right, over on Engadget, they're reporting that Sky satellite television provider, is considering bringing the next set-top box to your home that basically doesn't have a satellite dish connected to it. They're looking to build an internet-connected set-top box to deliver all content, including live TV, over the internet. Dubbed Project Ethan, the goal is to develop a system whereby all of Sky's programming is available through the cloud, letting you pause TV and, if you like, resume it on a smartphone. The paper also reports Sky is working on a refreshed Sky Plus HD box that's better suited to 4K. So good luck getting something like that to fly here in the United States, but that's the plan. That's kind of cool. A lot cheaper to put in cables and fiber than launching a satellite every 10 years, that's for sure. All right, over on the Wall Street Journal, they're reporting that Yahoo is going to stream a daily concert from Live Nation. Now, I'm not really familiar with Live Nation, but Live Nation has apparently got lots of artists, lots of venues planned, and starting in July, this new online channel hosted by Yahoo will feature one live show a day for several years, plus behind-the-scenes footage and interviews in the hours preceding and following the performance, from the tour bus to the after party. And this is going to be pretty cool because if they get some actual really cool artists, this may be a way for all of us to attend a concert and not actually be there. So it's got my attention. And we don't get too many concerts out here in Hawaii, nay. I think we had Bruno Mars for three shows, and then we had Bob Denver was just out, and I think that was it so far this year. One other one, some country band I wasn't familiar with, but I know people are getting tickets to go to. It just costs a lot to bring a band and equipment and stuff here. It's crazy. All right, Comcast to dump 3.9 million subscribers to quell Time Warner's merger antitrust fears. So Charter, if some of you that are have Charter as a choice in your town, but you're on Comcast, you'll probably be going over to going from Comcast to Charter. So get ready to get dumped, whether you like it or not. So we'll see if this deal actually ends up going through. All right, a lot of times the special force folks get all the cool toys. They often have a budget that maybe is not 100% reported, and they have special needs for special gear. And according to the folks over at Foxtrot Alpha, they basically talking about this new motorcycle that U.S. military members are going to get. And it's a stealthy hybrid all-wheel drive motorcycle. And there's even some video on this thing. Doesn't look like it's all-wheel drive from what I'm seeing here, but that's what they're reporting, at least on this website. So if you're into this kind of stuff, I have put up a link for you to definitely check it out. All right, New York City. Now, if you live in New York City, you probably know about this, but New York City is building a $185 million tunnel to nowhere. Yeah, they're building a tunnel. Basically, what's going on is that there's going to be a big construction project that is at the Hudson Yards. It's a massive development that will eventually cover the area with multiple skyscrapers and other buildings. Diggers are basically digging a new train tunnel below all that would be a major challenge. So what's going on is Amtrak is doing it now and saving itself the trouble because they feel that they're going to have to have some more interconnects. And they're using Hurricane Sandy money to basically, they're building the tunnel. They're going to have it in place. They're going to let them build over it. And then someday, if they bring in another train line, they'll be able to do that without having essentially without having to, basically it'll be there, but it's something that's not going to be used at this point. When I guess Governor Chris Christie canceled the famous $7.8 billion access to the region's core project, so they really didn't know where this tunnel would come in, but Amtrak's trying to take the initiative here to have something in place, and spending $185 million on something that will go, at this time, nowhere. Just big hole in the ground. Pretty crazy stuff. It really is. Sometimes I see this stuff and I just shake my head and really I wonder. I really do. But that's the plan. This will be one of those things 100 years from now. They're going to say, what is this here for? Who dug this hole and why? Or maybe 1,000 years from now, what'll happen is someone will come in there and they're going to be like, there has to be something behind this wall. They'll dig and find nothing. All right, Chernobyl steel radiation shield is the biggest moving structure ever. And it's kind of cool what they've done. If they built this structure or are building this structure to go over the top of the Chernobyl nuclear plant, basically the one that melted down, and it's on kind of like train tracks. And what they're going to do is once it's all built, they're just going to push it. And it's going to go over the top, and they'll cap the ends. And it's just like this big, huge dome over the top of Chernobyl because of the high radiation area in and around the reactor number 4. They're not able to stay in the immediate area very long. So this is the thing that they're doing with this. And this is pretty amazing. If you look at the size of this bad boy, it is not small. This is massive, and we're talking about a building is probably the size of the blimp hangars, or maybe even larger, out in Miramar, California. So, or on the old Naval Air Station Miramar, but yeah, they've got like skyscraper cranes to put this thing together. That's how tall it is. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, link will be up in the show notes for you guys to check that out. I wonder what kind of hazardous pay you get to for working over there. Now, this one, The more you hear about stuff, the more you think, my God, even current day movies are turning into stuff that could be true. And you'll get this real quick here. Scientists have reconnected severed nerves, hold your hat, with liquid metal. So, get your T1000 jokes ready, because we're one step closer to liquid metal powered people. A team of Chinese biomedical engineers recently used an alloy to close the gap between severed sciatic nerves in frogs. And in effect, it made electronic circuits out of nerves, and it worked. This is kind of crazy stuff. The liquid metal alloy is highly conductive, obviously. How they did this, I have no idea. But it's pretty fascinating what they have done here. And how they did this, I have no idea. But link will be up in the show notes. You guys can all scratch your head on this a little bit. But liquid metal. I'll be back. Heartbleed's silver lining. How many of you went through and changed all your passwords on basically every site that you had? If you didn't, you should have. But, when was the last time really you thought about using different passwords for different websites? I'm hoping that the Heartbleed bug made you do that and helped you get cleaned up, get more safe from a security standpoint. All right, switching to overseas. Imminent server seizure is testing Brazil's new Internet Bill of Rights. And this should make you roll your eyes a little bit. Less than 1 week after passing the Marco Civil Internet, Article 3, of which purports to protect free expression and privacy of personal data from government intrusion, a public prosecutor in Brazil is seeking to seize a server hosting research groups, social movements, discussions, lists, and other tools. The server is hosted by the Sarva Group, which has adopted a policy of not storing connection logs to protect the privacy of users. The public prosecutor is seeking to identify individuals in the Radio Mudo, a project hosted by this site. Here we are. Even though Brazil was screaming bloody murder, but everything that was revealed recently in all the security stuff, here we go. That this bill is being used to basically seize servers, even though it was supposed to protect free speech. Ha, ha, ha. Again, pathetic pretense here, and hypocrites when it comes to making the laws and following them. They're just making laws to be able to get done what they want to get done. Talk a little bit about patent litigation. Patent litigation costs U.S. businesses about $1 trillion in a quarter century. So that's pretty crazy money. They break it down, but from 1984 to 2002, there was $240 billion in private costs and $195 billion in private benefits. So in other words, the costs outweigh the benefits, but talks about the cost of the amount of litigation that's been done. It's pretty crazy, but they think could be as much as $1.49 trillion of, basically between litigation, paying and receiving, and, all this stuff that could have costed companies. So a lot of money because patent litigation. All right, so if you're in California or one of these places where the police have deployed something that's called Star Chase, you don't want to try to outrun the cops, because what they're going to do, instead of chasing you, they're just going to shoot your vehicle. And we talked about this before. And they can basically slap on either by tapping the car or basically punching this thing out. And it basically attaches with like a magnet. But they got the ability now to track your vehicle if you're on the run with one of these devices. Oh, it's got a compressed air launcher. So basically shoots it at the vehicle, sticks to the metal, and you're up and live and being tracked by the police. So apparently they can do this. They do think there's going to be some legal challenges to it, but it is being deployed in police officer equipment across the country. SpaceX has sued the U.S. government for secretly awarding a multi-billion-dollar military launch contract to Boeing and Lockheed. Well, this is an interesting move here. So Boeing, basically SpaceX didn't get to bid on it. And they feel they've been unfairly cheated out of opportunity to shoot for a great many things in space so basically they allege the U.S. military has given a big sweetheart deal to United Launch Alliance for sending government payloads into space. As is way, space founder Elon Musk has not been shy about making his feelings known. So they basically they did a block buy where they purchased 36 launches from ULA, which is awarded without competition and a cost of billions of dollars. ULA has stated it is the only company currently certified to launch national security payloads. Thus, the block buy makes sense. And SpaceX calls into question the timing of the buy, which has been secretly negotiated for months. The upstart space firm is in the process of getting its national security qualification, which it says may take the whole buy, which it says makes the whole block buy suspicious. The Air Force reportedly required no changes to the design or operations of the Falcon 9 during the review process. SpaceX won a few smaller contracts in the Air Force back in 2012 and hoped to compete against ULA. So the security stuff is big. I'm sure a lot of it is the hoops they have to run through to make sure that the right people are basically involved in the program with the right security clearances and everything else. And ULA already has all those qualifications. So we'll see where that goes in court. Pfizer, this, one thing that we have to remember here, and I want you guys I don't want you guys to forget this, okay? And this goes to tech companies, car companies, you name it, Apple, Microsoft, everyone does this. But Pfizer has got a $99 billion bid for a company called AstraZeneca. And AstraZeneca is a London-based company. And basically what they're trying to do here is Pfizer is trying to bid this so that they can move their operation largely out of the United States and overseas to pay a lower tax rate. Now, here's the deal. If Pfizer does this, it's trying to switch its official domicile from US to UK, where the corporate tax rate is due to drop to 20% from 21% in 2015. The corporate tax rate in the United States is at 35%. So, you figure out 10 years, 14% a year, this $99 billion acquisition of this AstraZeneca is not a big deal. And but basically, Pfizer wants to bring a larger majority of its $69 billion of annual earnings to its overseas tax haven in London. So this is happening a lot. Just because our corporate tax rate is so high, companies in the United States legally can leave and move a lot of their money outside the country and never pay a penny of tax. If these loopholes were closed and they were willing to bring the corporate tax rate down, I think the tax problem would be solved. But that's not what it's about. We've got, Congress has allowed this to happen. And so we'll see. But they're also looking to, this is good for UK because they're going to open up R&D centers there. And if they have some local innovations, they can get another 10% discount on profits attributed to UK patents. So if they do R&D there, get a UK patent, get 10% off on that. So this is crazy. If you're a cancer researcher in the United States, you better be looking for a visa to go to Britain because Pfizer's not staying here. Right there, 2.8 billion reasons think Apple has something big up its sleeve. Yes, 2.8 $1.8 billion. It's a jump, and it's a commitment for things like new manufacturing equipment, research and development, marketing, manufacturing, product tooling. It's a 30% increase. So something's coming. They're spending that money on something. So we'll see. Everyone expecting it has to do something with a smartwatch. So we'll see where they lead. I think they're daylighting $1 short to that party. Hey, we have here in the United States the Air Force. They're in charge of our nuclear deterrent, and we have what they call Minutemen. And of course, they've been in the news recently for doing bad things on their test and so forth at the Strategic Air Command. But CBS, basically 60 Minutes, did a tour of their facility, and they were shocked that part of the computer systems responsible for controlling the launch of the Minuteman III intercontinental ballistic missile relied on data loaded from an 8-inch floppy disk. So apparently, these disks are pretty reliable, and they feel that they're pretty secure. And I guess they would be, because no one else can read them. Can you imagine being the poor sap that has to maintain those drives? Better yet, how much is the government spending to keep those old drives that basically can read those disks? It is noted, though, that not all Minuteman Launch Control centers have this sort of aging hardware, but most of them still do have analog phone systems. Oh, man. That's actually not a bad thing. These digital phones, sometimes they don't work worth a crap. Yahoo's talking about cable bundles and how they're kind of being tore apart. And the latest hit is, of course, HBO allowing Amazon to stream some of their older shows, such as The Sopranos and The Wire. And little by little, they think the model is getting busted apart. It's just not happening fast enough for many of us. Don't you agree? But there is cracks in the wall. Finally tonight, if you want a fun video to watch, General Electric has got a pretty cool video. You can watch them destroy household items. Basically, they're doing tests of their equipment and seeing what happens when something's broken, either in a dryer or a washing machine, or they're basically proving that it can withstand getting damage from the stuff we leave in our pockets or get thrown in accidentally, making all kinds of strange noises on you, aren't I? But that's it. That's what we have tonight for you for a show. Try not to cough on you too much. Have a Kleenex here. My nose is running like crazy, so I'm going to wrap up and get out of here. I knew it. I knew on Thursday. I was at lunch, and one of the guys that was at lunch with me, he's like, "Oh my God, I feel terrible, and I got to, and I'm like, dude, why did you come to lunch?" And I knew right then and there the way he was acting. And of course, I'm trying to be paranoid and not touch anything that he's touched, but he's sitting at the table with lunch with us. I'm just like, crap. And sure enough, one of those airborne critters made its way and got me. And stupid me, I didn't load up on Airborne or something like that when I got home on Thursday. And by Friday mid-afternoon, I was like, oh, man, here we go. And that's the way it is. But could be worse. He basically was bedridden for a couple of days. But I'm 75% over it at this point. Okay, let me see here. Did I get everything covered? I think I did. Still kind of looking for an Amazon AWS expert, and it has to extend beyond S3. So drop me a line. I know I got one email from someone really need someone that's got some serious chops. So drop me a line. I'd appreciate it. Look forward to working with you guys. Hey, geeknews@gmail.com is the email address. And you can follow me at Geek News, or of course, Google Plus or Facebook. And all of you that are insiders, thanks for your continued support of the show. It's greatly appreciated, and really, the money comes to a good use here for us maintaining what we do. And if you want to become an insider, it's 67 cents a day or something like that, 6.7 cents a day. Go to geeknesscentral.com/insider. Everyone take care. We'll see you next time. Aloha. Bye, YouTube.